Focus. This is week 18, I think. Sunday, April 29th. I have had a rough week. I've been sick. My son was in daycare and he got sick, and then he gave it to me, gave it to my wife, gave it to my parents. I'm recovering. You know, my voice is a little hoarse. I lost my voice for a few days. And then yesterday I spent the whole day with my wife, hanging out and spending some quality time with her. And I didn't make any music. I didn't work on anything. I just took some time to be with my wife and hung out with my son a little bit. Today, right now it's 12:20. I'm not gonna make any music this week. I'm gonna go in my collection and find something that I haven't released, and I'll release that. But what I do want to do is, anybody who knows me, you clearly know I am a comic book fan. I would say my history with comic book characters stems more from cartoons, more so than comic books. I did have comic books, growing up, and I read them, but not as religiously as I watched a lot of the cartoons and things. Whether that was like Batman cartoons, Avengers stuff, Iron Man, Batman, Superman, Wolverine, X-Men cartoon, like all that stuff. I'm a big DC guy. Anybody, like I said, you know me. I got Batman here, Superman up here, got a Flash back here, got Cyborg here. No, this is showing up. Cyborg here. Got Wonder Woman right here. I did all this. I got this tattoo way before the Justice League movie came out because that movie was trash. So I'm a big DC guy. I am not a Marvel fan. If I like Marvel anything, it's X-Men. So I love the X-Men. I just never got into Marvel, and I've always been hard on Marvel movies. And because I've always felt like they were family-friendly movies, and they pulled their punches for the sake of audience. They are a business and they're trying to make money. So I'm like, things that would normally happen in those movies don't happen for the sake of movie, or we need this character to survive this thing, or we need this to happen. And it always felt like this way, where the story serves the writers, when I think it should be the other way around, where the writers serve the story. What I mean by that is, when the story serves the writers, then the story goes wherever the writers want it to go. And that's when I think you start to see things like we saw in Game of Thrones, the last season, was it 7 or I don't know, where it was just the worst season for me. It felt like things were happening that would not have naturally happened because they needed certain things to happen to get the story where they wanted it to go. Prior to that, I think the writers served the story. And when the writers serve the story, I think that's when you get better movies, where the movie seems to flow better and it's going to organically go wherever it would normally go. If somebody's supposed to die, they die. If somebody's not supposed to make it, they don't make it to their place or whatever is happening. And that's been one of my biggest beefs with the Marvel movies, is it always felt like the story served the writers. And so I went and saw Infinity War yesterday, and I thought it was amazing. And I gave you all that information before I say that because I felt like in this movie, one of the reasons I thought it was so amazing was because it felt like the writers served the story, and people who would die died. Okay, and before I say anything more, here's your spoiler warning. Okay, spoilers. If you don't want to know what happens in Infinity War, if you haven't seen it yet, turn this off. Okay, there's your spoiler warning. I liked the movie because it was a darker movie and the stakes were so high. And I put it right up there with Logan. Logan is probably my favorite Marvel movie, period. And then I think this probably comes in second, if not a tie with Logan. Then maybe Winter Soldier, Black Panther, then maybe Thor Ragnarok. I don't know. Those are my, and then Iron Man, first Iron Man kind of comes in there later for me. But this movie was just really good, man. I really enjoyed it. I was really impressed. I loved Thanos, and the thing with any good villain, I feel like they make points that you're kind of like, I kind of see his point. And I think they did that with Killmonger in the Black Panther movie. He just went about it in the wrong way. And I didn't like that either about Black Panther. I feel like they made Killmonger kind of crazy when I think he could have been a more, methodical, kind of organized guy, not just chaos, which is how it kind of felt to me. But this was basically, it was like Thanos' movie. Thanos had a big part in the movie, obviously, and everything that happened with him just felt really developed. And I understood his point of view. It made sense to me. I was like, man, I think you're making interesting points, but the way you go about it is wrong. And so when they killed off all the people that they killed off, I was just satisfied, because I was like, that's how it is in the real world. Like, nobody's safe. I don't mean to sound grim, but nobody's safe, and anybody can go at any moment, and people were just getting wiped off the map left and right. When Black Panther died, thought that was like, wow, like you're gonna go off and kill, the guy who just made $1 billion for you. Clearly he's coming back. Spider-Man died, Loki died. It was just a real solid movie. I don't really want to, I guess, get into all the specifics of the movie, because I'm sure everybody's doing that. But I just really liked it. The stakes were high. Thanos was interesting as hell. I was very satisfied with the movie, the action, the story. It was just a really good movie. It was just really shocking, because Marvel, for me, usually just kind of makes family fun, entertainment kind of movies. And then this came out, and it was just like, wow, like everything just blew everything up, man. It was good. It's just a really good movie. I know I'm not probably saying a whole lot. I'm going to go on a podcast, so I think Speak Between the Lines, and do a review of the movie, like a thorough review. But I guess I just want to take this time here and just kind of talk briefly about how much I love the movie and why I think the movie was good. Again, that's because I felt like the writers served the story. And whenever that happens, you get, I think, a really good movie. It was like that in the Dark Knight movies, trilogy. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen them. When Rachel died in Dark Knight, that was like, I feel like in a Marvel movie, in a typical Marvel movie, Rachel would have lived. Batman would have saved her just in time, and then there would have been a fun piece of humor that would have slid in there. And that's another thing. The humor in this movie didn't bother me. I did think some of it still is kind of jarring, but for the most part, the humor didn't really bother me in this movie. And that's one thing that I can't stand in movies today. I hate to see humor in dramas. I don't like that. If I'm in a serious movie, I want it to be serious. I don't want people cracking jokes during my serious movie. I don't lighten the mood for me. If something bad is happening, and you're dealing with it. Now maybe if you have a character who that's how they deal with things is humor, then maybe I understand that. But when you got everybody cracking jokes and shit, it's like the end of the world. I'm like, no, that's probably not going to be happening. So Infinity War was awesome. I loved it. I can't wait to see what happens, next, and how they bring everybody back. If they bring everybody back, if they bring the same actors back. Marvel's just done a really good job of making their movies and tying everything in together. I'm interested to see what happens with Captain Marvel, Adam Warlock, if he shows up. I think he was the guy they were building, the gold people were building in Guardians 2. I don't know, we'll see. That's nerd shit. I'll end on this thought. Marvel has the movie game on lock. I have no idea why DC is even playing the game. Marvel's got the live action movies on lock. DC has the animated movies on lock. DC's animated movies and cartoons are phenomenal. They're nothing short of amazing. I love them. They're gritty, they're interesting, they're rated R, they don't pull their punches. The next animated movie I'm looking into is Batman Ninja. Really want to see what that is. And there's another Suicide Squad movie coming out, animated. So DC's got that on lock. I have no idea why the DC just doesn't go to their animated department to make their movies, or to get people from them to give them ideas or spearhead a live action movie, because their live action movies suck. And this is coming from a DC guy. The last good thing that DC did, I think, was Man of Steel. I loved Man of Steel. I loved Man of Steel. I didn't have a whole lot of beef with it. I feel like it was a good start, but they didn't really finish at all. Batman vs Superman was garbage. Suicide Squad was garbage. What else did they do? Justice League was a joke. I mean, I enjoyed myself, had a good time, but it was a joke. It was a comedy. So I just wish DC would get their shit together and make hard, gritty movies, which is what you do with DC characters. DC characters are not Marvel characters. DC characters are godlike characters. And you need to make grittier movies for DC. Don't make DC movies funny. They're not meant to be funny. When you try to do that, you always fail. And you end up getting the, the Batman and Robin Batman movies and the Val Kilmer one and Justice League. So that's what I got. That's my ramble rant. Probably was not very coherent. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, and I don't even know if you can clearly understand what I'm saying with my voice not all here. So for music this week, I'm going to try to find something with some kind of heroic, dramatic movie theme. I'll see if I can find something in my blog. And then that's it, and I'll see you next week.